Want to see a dramatised version based on a real story about a stalker stalking a comedian? You need to watch Baby Reindeer. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now this one took me quite by surprise. I did see Baby Reindeer popping up on social media quite a bit. People saying, oh, it's a great show, etc. I was like, okay. Just by the impressions I got, I thought it was actually a sort of a true crime thing. And I'll be honest, you know, people look down on true crime. I like to watch them every now and then because it's just fascinating to me to see what we as human beings are capable of doing to each other. You know, it boggles my mind what kind of people are out there, you know. So I thought this was a true crime thing. It is not, so just to clarify that point, it is created by Richard Gadd. It is based on his own life, so he is a comedian, and this is based on his own life and his experiences with a stalker. Right, but this entire thing is not a true crime thing. It is completely dramatised, fictionalised, whatever you want to call it. Although Richard Gadd is playing himself. I mean, at least, you know, the character he's written. It's not actually, the character's not named Richard Gadd. Our main character is called Danny Dunn, but still, I hope you understand now the context of this. So I was very surprised watching. I was like, okay, yeah, no, sounds like fun. I'll do that. I'll check it out. And I must say, it really surprised me. If you look online, you'll see a lot of people raving about this. And I do agree that it is really deserving of a larger audience because it is, among all, I mean, I talk about Netflix shows and films so often, but I do feel that this is easily in the sort of upper levels of quality when it comes to things from Netflix. So if you're very selective about the things you watch on Netflix, and you're like, I don't want to watch any of the trash, you know, any of the experiments where they'll just throw anything at the wall and see what sticks, this is definitely something you should, you know, have a look at. It might not be easy, especially if you're someone who had to deal with sort of psychological issues in the past, things like, you know, all sorts of types of abuse, but particularly here, stalking, of course. If those things trouble you, then I suppose you will not enjoy this, but if all that's not a problem for you, then yeah, but do really take note that it's got some quite heavy-handed subject matter throughout the 7 episodes of this show. But what is it about? I mean, obviously I've spoiled a big part of it, but I mean, that is you're immediately led to this at the beginning of the story. So we are introduced, as I mentioned, to Danny Dunn. He is our main character in this story. He is in London. He is trying to make a name for himself as a comedian. So he is participating in local pub, etc. events where they've got it's an actual contest, a competition where you know you can win a prize, and he's obviously hoping to make a name for himself as a comedian. Other than that, he lives on his own. He doesn't really have big or many relationships, etc. Now we introduce Martha to the story. She is played by Jessica Gunning. People often complain about Scottish accents in all sorts of TV shows and films being done badly. I actually thought that Jessica Gunning was Scottish until I did some research and saw she's an English actress. So her acting and her accent definitely fooled me. So I think it's a very authentic, a very good Scottish accent, just if you're someone who gets annoyed by that. Anyway, she comes to the bar that he's working in. So while he's not gigging as a comedian, he generally throughout the day works in a bar, in a pub, and he feels sorry for her because she's sitting there, she's obviously not got anyone and no one's talking to her, and so he offers her a drink on the house even. And she is immediately delighted, starts talking to him, telling him about these important jobs that she's already done, or the one that she's currently working on, where she's a lawyer, people she's worked with, etc. And the two sort of develop a kind of friendship, you could say. Yeah, and we see this going, but we're also told right from the start, because actually the very beginning of the story, we see Danny Dunn going to the police to report her stalker. That's why I'm saying this isn't really a spoiler. This happens in the first minute, basically, of the show. So Martha becomes a stalker. Now, I won't go into details about this. It's 7 episodes long, although the episodes they've got varying length, but some of them are actually quite short. So if you enjoy your TV shows to be a bit shorter, smaller in scope, size, whatever, length in particular. When it comes to the episode runtime, this is definitely for you. Some of them are just half an hour long, you know, especially the first ones where we're just introduced to a lot of quirkiness in this whole story. But yes, basically, so we're seeing the story of this comedian, Danny Dunn, and his stalker, Martha. And that goes in a lot of various directions. It gets really, really intense at times. We delve into other subject matter. So I mentioned you've got abuse, so there are things here that are connected to abuse. So that's what you need to look out for if that is something that you do not like in your media. But it is really surprising. So this story, despite its short length for a TV show, it really surprised me by all the twists and turns it took. And it really hooked me from the start because I'm like, okay, you know, it's like, why does he not let go of this stalker? Because of various situations where he, you think, would have been able to just sort of kind of sever the ties with her. But you can tell that at the same time, because he's not got anyone, you know, he kind of likes the attention, and that's so he's sort of on a seesaw trying to balance all this. But eventually it does just go completely overboard, and there are a lot of other things that happen. I'm not telling you on purpose because these are parts of the twists and turns or developments of the story, which I found very interesting. So it is really, really good. I was so surprised. The acting is incredible. I mean, Richard Gadd in particular, the whole range you see him do in this TV show, it's really quite astounding. You've got pretty much everything on the spectrum here. Not once did I feel like, you know, I was watching something that was artificial, etc. I was really sucked into the whole thing as if it were happening before my eyes. I've already mentioned Jessica Gunning as well. There are a lot of other people in this as well, but Jessica Gunning as this stalker, she really creeps you out just by how she really forces herself upon him, and you're like, oh my God, you know. And she's unrelenting and really well portrayed. There are other things though that I really like in this show, one of them being that just the way it's shot. There's so many shots where you're just inside the comedy club or anything else and you're like, it looks beautiful. You've got these really rich colours, they've turned up the saturation a bit. But overall, I thought that it looks a lot better than it has the right to be, considering that it's sort of a small TV show that's sort of kinda black comedy, thriller, drama, all sorts of things, but still, you know, it feels very small in scale. It looks wonderful. The whole thing is a really well done production from start to finish. I enjoyed the whole lot of it. It's also got a lot of really, really funny bits in it. Comedy, of course, because it's also a theme of the show, but it is genuinely also funny. Like I say, quite terrifying and disturbing and all sorts of things, but also funny. So if any of that sounded interesting to you, I would say definitely check out Baby Reindeer. You'll also find out why it's called Baby Reindeer, by the way, in case you were wondering about that, because that's one of the things that intrigued me from the start. You'll find all that out. But yes, highly recommended by me, this show. If you've got Netflix, you should definitely check it out, especially if you're British. I mean, it is a British production, and I know that British people like to watch British things particularly, so yeah, but anywhere in the world, I'm sure you will enjoy this if any of the things I spoke about seem interesting to you. That will be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel according to YouTube, so if you could do any of those things, I would really, really like that. I would appreciate it a lot. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about Baby Reindeer, you know, what kind of feelings it aroused in you. I mean, I hope not, if you've not... I hope you didn't have any stalkers in your life, of course, but still, I mean, I felt myself going through a lot of emotions watching this whole thing. So anything you want to share about it, put in the comments down below. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care. Bye.